Welcome to a special and deeply intimate edition of Whispers of Turkish Stars, the corner where feelings are translated into stories that breathe. Tonight we open a window into a tale that stepped away from bright sets and scripted scenes and wandered into the fragile territory of poetry. What has unfolded between Alina and Navruz isn't a passing whisper. It feels like a vow echoing in a room long after the music stops, a careful exchange of hearts that has left fans across Turkey and far beyond holding onto a single breath. Prepare yourselves, dear Whispers of Turkish Stars family, because we will walk line by line through a poem that set the internet alight and decode the gestures that suggest the ember between them never truly cooled. This is a chronicle about the sovereignty of written words and the gravity of shared quiet. Before we step into this maze of verses and hush, one small invitation: if you cherish storytelling that listens, that thinks, that respects its subjects, subscribe to our channel. Turn on notifications so the pulse of stardom always finds your screen. And if you want to stand behind this project, access exclusive breakdowns, backstage insights, and the details others won't dare to touch, tap the join button. Your support keeps Whispers of Turkish Stars searching for the tales that touch the soul. Let the noise fall away now. The ink of the heart is ready to speak at Whispers of Turkish Stars. It began as most revolutions of feeling begin, in a quiet that can topple empires. Alina, so composed in interviews, so measured in public, chose a moment of raw openness and lifted a corner of the curtain hiding her private self. On her feed, an image appeared. A torn page from what looked like a journal, the curve of her hand unmistakable. No tags. No names. No explanation. Just a short line, small but seismic. At times the soul doesn't shout, it murmurs. When it does, it carries a single name. The post lasted barely an hour before disappearing, but in an age of lightning reflexes, an hour is a lifetime. It was enough for the Whispers of Turkish Stars faithful and fans of this once magnetic pair to catch the tremor in Alina's pulse. Whose name was that murmur carrying? The collective answer rose as one, almost involuntary: Navruz. That bare confession, inked on paper, ignited a storm of speculation that would gather into something larger and more solemn. Because the real shock arrived when the longer text behind that image leaked. What seemed like a fleeting thought was instead a woven piece with a quiet devotion that time hadn't washed away. Sources close to Alina confirmed the verses were drafted during a period of rare, unguarded closeness between her and Alp. Listen to the spirit, not just the syllables. I don't reach for you to be heard, I reach because you live where silence is. I don't look for you because you left, I look because you never did. Some names are too heavy for the mouth, so the soul writes them again and again. Each time I close my eyes, the heart picks up a pen and signs yours. Pause with me, Whispers of Turkish Stars family. Breathe in the duality. I don't look for you because you left, I look because you never did. That's not nostalgia. That's testimony. It's a confession that although their public roads diverged, the invisible thread remains tied at Alina's center. The heart turning into ink? That's a tender wound that refuses to harden, crafting beauty out of its ache. And now we ask you, because you are part of this circle. Could a person write this if the spiritual cord had truly been cut? Is poetry the most honest confession that a story paused, but refused to end? Share your theories in the comments, even your own anonymous verses if you dare. If you feel this level of reading into the soul is for you, touch that like. And if you want us to keep unraveling these delicate maps, the join button is your straight path to the truth. Let's move on. Navruz. Known for his quiet manners, his gentleman's posture, and that penchant for internal weather, did not stay entirely silent. He offered an answer only those fluent in his language of signs could hear. A story in his feed, a leather notebook, an old fountain pen, and a single line that rang in certain hearts like a call bell. Not a shout. Not a confession. Something steadier, certain lines refused to fade. It was not a loud yes, but it felt like an extended hand from across a corridor, the kind you notice if you still remember how the other person walks. Then the gestures stepped off the screen and onto the street. Recently, Alp was spotted leaving a small bookbinding studio, the kind that smells like dust in dreams. He held a package wrapped in brown craft, a dried rose pressed where the twine crossed. For our analysts at Whispers of Turkish Stars, this wasn't retail therapy. This was poetry turned into an object. Alp has always been a man who chooses symbols with care, preferring things that hold stories to words that die by morning. Was he having verses bound? Those lines? Was it meant for the woman whose silence had spelled his name? When the press pressed, Alp smiled the way he does when he declines to be ordinary and said only, when words come from the soul, they explain themselves. With that, he closed the door on trivial questions and opened the window to interpretation. The map of love matters here too. Reports say both Alina and Alp have been seen separately, but with uncanny timing, at a certain Istanbul park that once sheltered them from the world. They didn't collide in front of any lens. They walked under the same trees, at different hours, in an echo of days when leaves overhead knew their secrets. Returning to the origin point is its own language. To add another brushstroke, Alp stopped at a modest cafe layered with memories. The owner shared that he came alone, chose the old table, ordered what he always used to, and then just watched the window. No phone. No hurry. Just a man occupying a place where an us once breathed. Nostalgia, captured in profile. Meanwhile, voices close to Alina told us that, upon reading the full text aloud to a trusted friend, her composure cracked. Hands trembled. Tear met page. This wasn't just writing. It was release, a quiet call seeking an answer that might never arrive in plain language. Dear family, we stand at a hinge moment. If you believe in this style of narrative, if you want Whispers of Turkish Stars to keep bringing you portraits painted with feeling instead of recycled headlines, consider the join button one more time. Becoming a member means keeping this approach alive, patient, careful, and kind, even when it hurts. Now, the last act, music in image. Alina posted a playlist named Writing from the Heart, and nestled inside was Volver, Return. The lyrics are about walking without leaving, about living inside another's hush. They mirror her text so closely it's hard to call it coincidence. Hours later, Alp added a black and white clip, a pen traveling over paper that grows darker where a tear seems to have fallen. No faces. No explanations. Just a final card, what the soul writes always finds its destination. Do you see it? Is Alina speaking in one artistic dialect and Alp answering in another, both refusing to let the crowd derail a conversation meant for two? It feels that way. It feels like they decided labels like boyfriend or ex are too small for what's unfolding. As a comment put it, and it went everywhere, they're not a couple, they're a poem that learned how to breathe. Each verse, each song, each damp edge of paper draws them back into the same page. We near the end of this chapter with our pulse beating to their rhythm. Alina Boz and Alp Navruz reminded us that love is rarely a straight line. It bends and it circles and sometimes it returns home carrying both scars and light. At Whispers of Turkish Stars, we'll keep watching with care each post, each echo, each shadow, to bring you a truth that honors the people inside the story. Will this poem become a bridge to a new, public chapter? Or is this the way they've chosen to love without definition, safeguarded by art? Only time, a stubborn archivist, will answer. What is certain is that their tale is already recorded in ink that won't wash off. Thank you for staying with us on this tender journey. If this video made you think about your own unfinished sentences, your own quiet rooms, show it a little love with a like, share it with those who have followed them from the first spark, and subscribe so you always arrive when the story does. And once more, consider joining our circle by tapping join. Your presence is the flame that keeps Whispers of Turkish Stars warm enough to hold stories like this. Until the next exclusive, always here, where truth still wears the names we know. Spoken softly, as if the soul itself were speaking. And before the curtain falls completely, one last reflection for the night owls still leaning in. The image of that brown parcel with its faded rose tells you almost everything you need to know about Alp's response. He binds what matters so it can survive handling, weather, and time. The playlist tells you what Alina does with pain. She curates it, arranges it, and lets music steady her hand. The park is a compass. The cafe is a shrine. The notebook and pen are messengers. The tear is the seal. If you trace these signs together, They form a gentle arc spanning the distance between two people who learned that privacy can be a sanctuary and a sentence at the same time. Maybe they will step back into the light as in us, maybe they'll keep weaving in the half-shadow, translating each other in poems and songs, trusting that those who need to understand already do. Either way, the conversation is happening, just beneath the surface, line after line, pause after pause, a language that takes patience to hear. And we will be here, patient, listening. So this is where we leave tonight's candle burning, not at the end, not at the beginning, but at a turning, where paper remembers and music answers. If your heart recognized itself anywhere in these scenes. If you've ever stared out of a cafe window waiting for an answer that comes in ink, or walked a familiar path because your feet remember better than your mind, carry that recognition with you. Let it make you softer. Let it make you brave. And come back to Whispers of Turkish Stars when the next hint surfaces, when the next syllable lands, when the next silence speaks. We'll be ready to read it with you, sentence by sentence, breath by breath, until the page decides what comes next.